CQ, calling CQ, the Old Friends Net. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, calling CQ, the Old Friends Net. This net meets 3 times weekly on this frequency, Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8 a.m., Sunday evenings at 4 p.m. now, and it's carried out in the Amplitude Modulation mode in the round table format. We take a list, put everybody in order, and everybody has their turn. Net's a great place to get information or look for parts or maybe trade a rig or sell one, mainly catering to the vintage equipment genre, but anyone that can generate an AM signal is welcome to participate. So, those wishing to be a part of the Old Friends group, give me a call and come down.
N4LQ.
K4GDN.
WB4NKL.
WA4EVK.
KB4PSI.
W4MEC.
Tell you who I have heard thus far. N4LQ, K4GDN, WB4NKL, WA4EVK, KB4PSI, and W4MEC. Do we have any others? Well, not too bad for a snowy morning, I guess. One more time, N4LQ, K4GDN, WB4NKL, WA4EVK, KB4PSI, and W4MEC. One more standby. Any other stations? All right, good morning to everybody. We've got about 19 degrees, windy, cloudy, and half an inch of snow, maybe a little more than that. Ground is white, so hey, we do have a bit of snow. Chilly day, good day to stay inside and radio. Running the BC 610 this morning and the HQ 110A. So let's go down to Shelby. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, everybody's signal's really strong this morning. It seems like the band must be extra good. I wonder what the space weather says, Dave. Is that something there that's causing this? But yeah, it's 37 down here and beautiful, sunny, and it looks like it's going to be sunny all week. I think the temperature will go up a bit tomorrow and as the week progresses. I'm running the Ameco TX86 and the Drake 2A and horizontal loop antenna, etc. So there you go, George. You sound great this morning. K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4L2 in the groups, K4GDN. Good morning, everybody. It was 32 here at Myrtle Beach this morning at 7 o'clock. Today we're running Hallicrafter station, the HB32B, putting out about, a little under 10 watts to the homebrew 811. And carrier power is I guess running just a tad over 125 watts. Everybody's coming in here pretty well so far, and we'll see what things are doing. So with that, we'll turn it on to, I guess it goes to Cliff, WB4NKL, K4GDN.
Yeah, K4GDN, that's WB4NKL. Good signal here in Tennessee, George. Got 22 degrees here and skiff of snow. It's on the grass, I guess, probably a half inch, and then but it's nothing on the pavement or the sidewalks. Just hoping it'll warm up. I think it's supposed to get up to 40 today, which will be a lot better than yesterday, and then it keeps improving there for the rest of the week, looks like. Good morning to Tommy. I hadn't heard you on this one in a while, Tommy. Sounding good this morning. I'll send it on down to Boone. Go ahead, Boone. WA4EVK. It's WB4NKL.
WB4NKL on the group. WA4EVK. Good morning, everyone. 24 degrees in Pickens this morning. Sunshine. Is no snow. We missed the snow. Fine with me. Running AF68 into Swan Mark 1 linear and receiving on a little SDR receiver. Great conditions this morning so far. Really nice signal in here from George. We're moving right along over to KB4 PSI.
WA4 EVK. Good morning, Boone. KB4 PSI. 24 degrees here in Greenville, Tennessee, and I think we're going to get up a little bit warmer today. Yeah, good morning to you, Cliff. Good to hear you, Steve, and Dave there. I missed the Over the Hill gang, but thought I'd get in here and say hello to you guys. Good morning. But it is cold. I got some trash out here a while ago and took care of that, but my goodness, you don't stay out there long. It's pretty brisk. Anyway, I'll pass it on around, and everybody sounds good here in Greenville. W4MEC, KB4 PSI.
KB4 PSI and the group, W4MEC. Real good, fellas. Everybody's booming in here, especially George. And pipeline today from George, at least on this first round. And we got all 4 thermometers agreed it's 23 degrees outside. And clear here. No clouds. Let's see. We did get a pretty good snow last night. And it was sticking pretty good. The whole ground was covered. And it's gone this morning, and I think it probably blew away. Maybe it evaporated. I don't know. There's some light, fluffy stuff that was not really, I don't know, it's like powdered sugar, I guess. It didn't really stick, I guess. Maybe I ought to go outside and look against a fence or something. Maybe it's banked up there or something. but it was coming down good. But anywho, it should be obvious that I'm inside the house today and running the Apache tribes here, feeding the infant half-wave from the rigs here. And what else? That's it so far. I was just looking at the passage of the reopening the government, but they can't because the Senate is out of town. You would think they'd come back. And also find it's funny that it almost didn't pass over some stupid bill rider on there about hemp farmers in Tennessee or something that has something to do with making it into drugs like selling pot or something. I don't know. So I don't know why in the world that was in there, but so they all capitulated, I guess. So weird bunch of dummies up there. WA4LLR in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, Charlie, fine business. Let me see if we have any other check-ins. Any other check-ins for the net this morning? Come now.
KF4DRA.
All right, recognize Mr. Greg in New Market. Anyone else? All right, nothing heard. Greg, go ahead and tell us what's going on in New Market, Tennessee, and send it back to me. KF4DRN, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, KF4DRN. Good morning, everyone. 21 degrees here in New Market this morning.
little bit of snow outside. I noticed, not really on the grass so much, but I seen it on top of an old refrigerator a little bit. Kind of like powdered sugar, you know. But it's cold, and I overslept. I didn't get to check in on the other net this morning, but it's good to be in here, and everybody's sounding good here in New Market. I'll pass it on back to you there, Dave. WA4LLR, KF4DRA.
All right, fine business, Greg. Good signal this morning. 21 degrees and a dusting of snow. Well, glad you got in here with us today. One more time, any other stations, come now. Okay. Well, let's see here. Charlie's easy to tell when you're in the house because I think the audio on the TX1's the loudest audio of your transmitters, but it sounds great. And Tommy, I agree with you. When I let the dog out this morning, it didn't take me long. It's cold out there. Boone, the AF-68 sounds great, as always. And Cliff, glad you're getting over the congestion there. Good morning to you, George. I believe you said it was 32 down at the beach. That's kind of chilly, especially with the breeze coming in off the ocean, man. And Steve, the Ameco sounds good, as do all your radios. Let's see. As I said, we've got about 19 degrees, going up to a blistering high of 37 today. But hopefully after that, we'll have somewhat of a warm-up. I'm looking forward to that. And you were talking about space weather, Steve. Well, it's getting to be where the space weather with me is about as mystifying as my study of ground currents. Because about just before 5:30 this morning, we had a major flare, an X5.16, which is a bodacious solar flare. But even with that, conditions are good. We've got a sunspot count of 128, solar flux index 180, and the planetary K index, the stability of the geomagnetic field is 2.3. So, man, the effects of that must have been quick and short term. I'm not heard about any CMEs that have been ejected from it, but I think there was a radiation storm about a couple of hours after the flare, but things I'm sure settled down quickly, which is just amazing to me. A few things from this day in history. Of course, the big news is on this day in 1918, World War I ended, with Germany signing the armistice with the Allied powers in a railway carriage. Also on this day in 1885, General George Patton was born. On this day in 2004, Yasser Arafat passed away in Paris. Of course, he was the president of the Palestinian Authority and chairman of the PLO and the leader of Fatah and all those Palestinian groups. On this day in 1992, the Church of England voted to ordain women priests. On this day in 1966, Gemini 12, the last spacecraft of the Gemini series, was the first to automatically do a controlled entry into Earth's atmosphere. It was launched on this day in 1966. On this day in 1889, Washington was admitted as the 42nd U.S. state. And that's pretty much from this day in history. I think I'll plan on staying inside as much as possible today. Tinker with a few things here in the shack. It certainly is the day for that. So let's head back around. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
All right. I didn't hear anybody break in. Was there somebody wanting in? Okay. This WA4LLR, N4LQ. Well, let's see. I don't know anything about solar flares, and I just don't know what that all means, and I've never tried to study it. And but anyway, real interesting about the hemp hole up. That is kind of funny in a way, but yeah, that's Rand Paul up in Kentucky. He decided that the government didn't need to reopen until they agree with him on the hemp thing. But it is getting to be a problem, but it seems like a separate issue to me. And hello to Tommy. Good to hear you this morning. And to KF4DRN. Hadn't heard you for a while. It's good to hear you in there. And good morning to Boone and Cliff. I hope your cold's getting better. I think you had a cold last time. And George, yeah, 32 sounds good. Good audio. Speaking of audio, I think Charlie's audio is exceptionally good this morning. I don't know what you did different, but it's the clearest, good sounding audio I've heard from your end lately. And I wonder if maybe your microphone is different, or maybe it's just a cold microphone, something like that. But I wonder if you guys ever check in on the Ameco electronics on the web. Ameco.com. I hadn't looked at that for a while. Somebody brought it up the other day. They've been in business for 50 years. And they got all kinds of cool stuff on there, like kits, little kits like steam engine sound generators and Christmas tree light kits and all kinds of fun things to build. They got one that's a digital multimeter and a kit that you have to hand wire. But it's $50, so it's not really saving you much money. It's just the pride and joy of building something yourself, I guess. Anyway, over to George, K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the groups, K4GDN. I'm copying everybody fairly well here this morning. There is some QSB, and it seems to affect the audio more than the carrier looking at it on the scope. Although the S-meter does show a little bit of deflection there. But yeah, I like the 32 degrees down here in Myrtle Beach. Hopefully it'll kill some bugs. Last night was quite windy, although it's calm here this morning and the sun is out. And it's supposed to stay clear for I think for all this week. And stay a little chilly too, which suits me just fine. When we were up in Maggie Valley last week, it didn't get all that cold at night. It got down into the 40s. I had hooked up my electric water line to the RV, but it really didn't need it there. And as far as the rig here this morning, like I say, it's the HT32B with a D104. And the receiver is an SX100. Other than that, everything's pretty much straight up here today. I will be working on my HQ145 next year. Steve, getting that volume control in, see what we can do there. It's a little bit hard to get to, but I think I can make it okay. So with that, let's see, it goes to Cliff, WB4NKL in the group, K4GDN.
Yeah, K4GDN, that's WB4NKL. Okay, George, Hallicrafters is still sounding good up here. Now, Steve, cold still hanging on, or some of the effects. It's not feel pretty good, but still got some of the side effects hanging on. But hopefully it'll leave me here in another day or two. 55 degrees here in the shack. I don't know if that's good for it or not, but I've been getting out and walking every day, even yesterday, walking anyway. So I don't think that hurts being in the cold don't seem to hurt the cold anyway. Ameco Electronics, I have bought from them in the past, and for some reason I was thinking they had went out of business. I used to get an email showing their products, and maybe it was another company, but for some reason in the back of my mind I thought they had went out a while back. I used to buy the little prototype boards from them. It was a good sort. They was real good quality boards, and they were cheap. I'll have to check them out, see if they still got those. Not too much else here on the weather there. I seen Roan Mountain got 8 inches of snow, so I guess the mountaintops have got a good coating of snow. If anybody wants to see any, they can head out to the mountaintops. Go ahead, Boone, WA4EVK, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL in the group, WA4EVK. Yeah, I'm going to stay inside where it's a lot warmer and melt some solder today, I think. And speaking of that, Ameco, I still do business with them. In fact, they've got a really complete line of small enclosures. A lot of them plastic, but they've got their own brand of a little metal enclosure that I've, in fact, the relay box, or push-to-talk box I'm using right now is built into one of their smaller metal enclosures. Not too small. I think this thing's 7 by 9, about 3 inches high, and it's cheap. So, being one that doesn't part with $1 readily, I use that for a lot of projects, that particular one. And that's about it on this round. KB4 PSI to take it, WA4EVK.
Okay, Boone, WA4EVK, KB4 PSI. I'm like Cliff. I thought Ameco went out of business. I used to use them a lot when I was working, and I haven't ordered from them in a long time. So I'll have to check that out, Steve. I used to really like the kits, especially heat kit stuff and night kit. Put that stuff together. That's been a while. I'm running the ICOM 756 Pro 3 and the Drake L4B amplifier this morning, and everybody sounds good here in Greenville. But Cliff, I was on Roan Mountain there Saturday, and I want to think it's up around 70 degrees, close to it. So 8 inches of snow up there right now. It's hard to believe. But we went up there, and real nice apple orchard there on the side of the mountain there. We went up there and got some apples, cabbage. Really a neat little apple orchard up there. Well, I'm going to say 73s. I've got to get up here and fire up on some breakfast. But I will listen on the SDR over here. Everybody sounds good, and good morning to everybody, especially Greg there. Good to hear you, Greg, down in Newmarket. But I'll go ahead and turn it to Charlie. And Charlie, good to hear you in here this morning. W4MEC 73s, KB4 PSI.
Okay, Tommy, KB4 PFI and the group W4MEC. Well, I knew Ameco was still in biz, but I went online here when Steve mentioned it. I've been looking at some interesting things. That little electronic cicada is kind of interesting. That'd be something to pass. The Learn to Solder kit is interesting too, but you can drive your family crazy because what you end up making is a two-tone European siren. So, but anyway, I'm looking. There's 6 pages of kits there, so I've seen 1 or 2 that are down. I wouldn't mind having. There's a solid-state scope kit there, and I was wondering if that would make a neat mod monitor, but it only goes to 100 kilohertz, so you'd have to do a little work to display something in the megahertz range. But yeah, they're still in biz. So, okie dokie. Well, what I thought about when you said, you know, you can really tell when I'm on the Drake tribes here, and I mean Drake, Kit tribes here, and they sound good and all that. Is that my other radios sound bad? So I'll have to see. There's nothing really special. I've been using the same mic I've been using forever, and the modulation pot is where it's normally set, about 11 o'clock. So I don't know. I'm just glad it's working, and it's probably glad. You know, if electronics have a soul, these two pieces of gear probably are in heaven now, because one was saved from the drainage ditch and the other was saved from the dump. So, and they still motor on. Maybe that's the reason they've been so reliable all over these years. They're thank yous or something, you know. All right, down to Greg. Good signal up here, or over here. Let's see, KF4DRN and a group W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4DRN. Yeah, Charlie, your signal's good over here to me as well. And several on here have like 20 over signal. I'm only running 25 watts on here. Just an old Yaesu FT840, nothing fancy. And with Delta M2 power desk mic. And, you know, simple band dipole antenna up about 20 feet, nothing fancy at all. It's good to be in here, and yeah, Steve, it's been a while since I've talked to you as well, and anyway, I miss hearing you guys. Of course, I guess a lot of times don't have good band conditions during the day, or I've listened around some at night, and I hear the guys checking in down south, you know, some of the nets, but can't hear some of the guys down there are good enough to check in, you know. If I did, I'd have to get somebody to relay for me, so I generally don't check in those other nets they have down south. But anyway, I'll listen to them sometimes. I'll pass it on around, back to the top, W84LLR, KF4DRN.
All right, Greg, fine business. KF4DRN, W84LLR. Well, let me stand by. Do we have any late check-ins for the old friends? Come now. Okay, nothing heard. Well, Greg, your 25 watts doing a good job. You're about 10 over up here. Sounded real good. And Charlie, you know how certain people have letters after their name, like you know, MA or MS, PhD, on like that, and Esquire or whatever. But I think we're going to have to give you an abbreviation after your name, SOR, Savior of Radios. So, oh man, sounds like you're doing the rescue and reviving of rigs. So that's great. Yeah, keep those old radios out of the trash dump. And Tommy, if you're still listening, the Pro 3 sounds really good. Of course, just about, you know, I don't remember hearing anything that you run sounding bad. And Charlie, let me correct something. It doesn't mean that your other radios sound bad. It just means that one sounds exceptional. So don't panic and start checking. Boom, good luck with all the soldering today and tinkering in the shop. And Cliff, I hadn't heard that about 8 inches of snow on the mountain, but I'm not surprised, and I'd say Mount Mitchell probably got a good dose too. And George, that HT32 is doing a good job for you from the beach. And Steve, the more I try to understand about space weather and certain geophysical phenomena, I think the less I know. Right when you think you're getting a handle on it, you know, X plus Y equals Z, you find out that X plus Y equals Q. So I've studied this stuff for years, and I'll tell you what, it throws a curve every now and then. Anyway, let's see. Oh, not a whole lot, so let's go around again. And Tommy's signed, so Boone will give it over to Charlie. N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, N4LQ. I didn't hear anybody else trying to check in, so I guess there isn't anybody, but all right, well, let's see. Charlie, there's no doubt that an adopted rig like that, or a rescue rig, would be more appreciative. Sort of like going to the dog place over here and getting a rescue dog, and you know, just kind of comes to you, and it's yours. So it does sound fine, and your other rigs do too. I think this one sounds better. The ART-13 that you've got sounds good, except for all the noise from that power supply, or that dynamotor. Well, it's a high-pitched noise. That's I'm able to notch it out with the SDR, but the Drake brings it through real good, which I'm kind of starting to warm up to this Drake 2A. I think I like it, and yeah, it's a little narrow. It's only 4.8 kc wide, but it's good enough for what we're doing, and I don't get a lot of interference. And when I do hear a little bit of chatter on the side, I can swing the passband over and sometimes take it out a little bit. It doesn't sound like it's doing much, but it is doing enough that it helps. So I think it's a pretty good AM receiver for general purpose, and it doesn't take up any space. It kind of blends in with my little TX86 transmitter. This thing's only about 6 inches square. It'll fit in the palm of your hand, this transmitter will, and it's kind of pretty. Got a copper face on it. And let's see, how much carrier power are we doing? 305 watts right now, plenty of power. So there you go. Yeah, Dave, I'm not too sure about your acronym there for Charlie's name, but we'll work on that. And let's see here. George, real fine on your HQ 145, I think you said it is, and the new pot. Hope that works out for you. That's new old stock from Radio Shack. I got a whole pile of stuff from them that I picked up somewhere at a yard sale, or somewhere anyway. So yeah, Tommy, your Pro 3 sounds good. In spite of being a rice box, it sounds okay. And I wonder if your Ranger's still working. That always sounded good too. Anyhow, turn it over to George, K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ, the old friends, K4GDN. We hopefully we'll be able to work on the HQ145X. I did notice one thing though that is different. The pot that's in there now, the collar that the nut goes on, is a little bit bigger than the one on the pot that you gave me, and on several other pots that I had. But I do notice some of the older pots had a slightly bigger collar, and it's a different thread size, a little bigger. And nobody's mentioned it, but there was a real interesting article in Electric Radio this month, this issue, on the InFed. They call it an InFed ZEP, but they used a lot of counterpoise wires on it to get it on all bands. But the one that we're using here now, and the one I'm on right now, seems to work just fine on most of the normal amateur bands. And it was interesting. He did mention W3EDP, I think the call was, and I tried one of those antennas when we first got down here. It worked so-to-so. It was kind of sensitive to the feed line length, when I was still operating out of the garage before I got the shack. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting article, and just didn't wonder if anybody else had read it and what they thought of it. And it was a very good article on the old command sets in there too. Really enjoyed reading that. I always like to hear about that sort of stuff. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to you, Cliff. Oh, and Greg, I hear you in there, but I don't copy you very well. 25 watts is not quite making it in here to Myrtle Beach. And there is some QSB that's getting kind of deep here now. So with that, I'll pass it on to you, Cliff. WB4NKL in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, it's WB4NKL. Still good copy on you, George. It may be a little down from the last transmission, but still solid here. I got my electric radio yesterday, and I thumbed through it, but I hadn't sat down to delve into the individual articles there yet, but I'll try to do that. I seen the article on the antennas. Be interesting to read. Curiosity got to me, and I was looking back, and the company that I was thinking about that went out of business is Marlin P. Jones. They were a surplus outfit out there in California. I guess they'd been around for about 50 years, but they went out of business here a while back. But that was the people that I was buying the little prototype boards from, and I hated to see them go because they were really good quality boards. I see Ameco has got them, but they don't look like the quality of these the boards I had from Marlin P. Jones. There's another company I do some business with, a surplus outfit out there. I think all these are California based, but there was one called Electronic Gold Mine, and it's still around. They come up with some pretty good stuff sometimes. I'll send it on around. Go ahead, Boone. WA4EVK, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL in the group, WA4EVK. Well, good deal there, Cliff. Always interested in a new outfit to go examine their parts, especially the surplus places. I hadn't dealt with those before, but I'll go dig around and see what they've got that I can deal with. Although right now I've got plenty to do. And Charlie, I was wondering if this was the Tuesday that you got the club meeting or not. I have a hard time keeping it straight. And with that, I'm going to turn over to you. W4MEC to take it, WA4EVK.
Yeah, WA4EVK in the group, W4MEC. Well, yes, tonight is normally the night, but I canceled the meeting because most of the board members are not going to be there, and there's not enough to vote on anything, so there's only going to be me and two others, so they decided to cancel the meeting, and so I will, if I'm awake, and if I remember, I will try 6 meters. So, of course, it's cold out in the shack there. I'm going to have to find my heater there, get it set up, I guess. I got an electric, and I got a kerosene heater for it's really cold. When it's 22 degrees, it's cold enough that the kerosene comes out. But anyway, I have a terrible buzz here this morning. I'm not sure what it is. It kind of sort of comes and goes. I think it might be somebody's heater with the igniter, you know, the arc is causing me an issue. I checked mine. It's not my heater. This temperature, mine, I run on propane here, so it's got a, you know, a steady buzz going on inside it, but it doesn't bother me here. So I'm not sure what it is, and all of a sudden it'll go away, but it's strong enough to affect the audio quality of most signals here. Well, once I tune off of the frequency there, it's really buzzy, but on frequency, the carrier over the signal there. Everybody nulls it out, but it's affecting the quality of the modulation, or the audio quality rather, and it's probably not that high on my estimator. This is a very quiet area, and probably if I to go off frequency and turn up the gains, it'll probably be like S2. So, but it's a little buzzy. And anyway, what else we got here? I had a thing. There's an interesting YouTube. I didn't send it out, but it's 50 unknown facts about North Carolina, and it's about 37 minutes long, and I thought it was pretty interesting. And I didn't know that between North Carolina and part of Tennessee, because they had to include that because of the Appalachians and the Blue Ridge and all that, there are more 6,000-foot plus peaks in North Carolina than anywhere in the country, and I think they might have said world in a mountain range. And everybody talks about Mount Mitchell, that's all it is, but we actually have many 6,000 plus peaks around here. So, well, a bunch of other little interesting things about the state from coast to coast, and the history and all that. So it's on there. I think the guy does interesting things about every state, but for some reason NC came up yesterday, and I sat there and watched the darn thing. So anyway, what else we got here? Yeah, savior of all radios. Well, I don't know. In that case, the heaven exists out in my garage. But the things I need to continue saving and get done. So one of these days. But yeah, some of this stuff's got some interesting history. So, alrighty. Let's see. Did Greg leave? I'm not sure if he left or not. I can't remember now, but I'm going to turn it over to him. KF4DRN, the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, KF4DRN. Yeah, this morning. And one of my friends telling me I need to get me a breadboard where I can do experiments. Got a new scope a while back, and trying to learn how to use it. It does a whole lot of functions. It's even got spectrum analyzer deal on it, and math on it and everything, but a lot to learn. But it's interesting, and I've got a project board picked up a while back from the Silent Key estate. We were just talking about one clip, where you solder on, the bill something. But I don't have really a breadboard per se, but I'm going to order me one, I guess. Maybe I can learn a little bit more about electronics in general. I've got a lot to learn. I know enough about it to get me in trouble. I guess that's the way I'll put it. Pass it on back to Trump. W84LLR, KF4DR.
All right, fine business. KF4DRN, WA4LLR. Any late check-ins? Come now. All righty. Good deal on the new scope. Sounds like a great one. And yeah, I've got a couple of breadboards here. Excuse me. That these are the varieties that you just plug the components in. Use jumper wires to test out your circuit. Sorry about the buzz, Charlie. It's always irritating. Yesterday, I was down here tinkering, and 10 meters is open pretty good, so I was worked a few stations on 10 over in Europe, so on and so forth. I like to monitor those international DX beacons, and man, I'm telling you, the bands were in good shape yesterday. I tuning around and heard one little boy calling CQ on 12 meters. Went back to him, and he was a special event station commemorating a think it was the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. We talked for a little while. But all of a sudden, I started getting this horrendous noise on 10 meters. It just, I don't know, it was almost like a power line or something. It eventually went away, but I don't know what was doing that. But it was a mess. Let's see here. What else? Steve, you talking about Charlie's dynamotor whine. I kind of like it. It's cool. Listen, that thing spool up. And I tell you, my Drake 2A is about one of my favorite receivers. I mean, it doesn't take up hardly. The footprint's real small, and it does a great job. And I love the size of it. The only thing much smaller is those, those LMAC mobile receivers, but they just don't have the selectivity. Or my PMR7 and PMR8, the 8's not quite as broad as the 7, but man, the 7, you can hear all over the band with it. But I really like that 2A. I wonder, has anybody had any experience with that first one they built, that weird little 1A receiver, a Drake 1A? The one downside I noticed was the selectivity is only like 2.4 instead of the 4 point whatever it is you get with the 2A. But I'm curious if anybody has one or has ever tried one of the Drake 1As. I guess they're kind of a rare bird. But talk about a small footprint. Anyway, well, let's go around at least one more time. So, Steve, here comes N4LQ, WA4LLR.
WA4LLR, it's N4LQ. I had a Drake 1A I bought back in the 90s, and I got it real cheap. Somebody found it in their garage and didn't know anything about it. I kept it for a while, and then I sold it for a really big profit. But that was back when I think eBay had just started back in those days. The thing about the Drake 1A is it did not have AM on it. There wasn't any diode detector. And yeah, 2.4 kc. So you could do the exalted carrier or whatever you want to call it on AM, but it really wasn't intended at all for anything but sideband. It didn't even have CW selectivity position or anything. And they quickly found out that people would like to be able to receive AM on their radios. And they came out with the 2A, and there's 3 variations of the 2A, and some of them have the noise limiter, and some don't. Some have the what was it? Standby switch was different, and Q multiplier switch was different. They learned as they went, I guess, and then they finally came out with the 2B and messed up AM on it. But there's still a lot of people who use the 2B on AM. You just have to kind of put up with a real narrow filter or tune off to the side a little bit. Sometimes helps. Anyway, I looked up that electronic gold mine, and the website is The Electronic Gold Mine, all one word run together, .com. And they got all kinds of crazy things on here. One of them is a kit that's a mood meter, and you put your fingers on it, and it reads out your mood, and it tells you if you're in a good mood or a bad mood, or let's see, easygoing, smoking hot, you name it. It runs on a 9-volt battery. So that would really come in handy. And let's see, George, I did read the article in Electric Radio about that ZEP antenna. Brian sent me a copy of it. He texted it to me, and I read through it. And well, it's kind of interesting. The original ZEP was well, you use a quarter wavelength of ladder line to feed it on the end. So you had a half wavelength antenna, feed it on the end with a quarter wavelength of feed line. And I tried that because I got to talking about it here on the net, and a couple of people didn't believe me, but if you cut that feed line the right length, you'll end up with a pretty close match to 50 ohms at the transmitter. And if you check the balance on your currents, they'll be perfectly symmetrical. Even though one side of the feed line goes nowhere, it just goes up to the antenna and stops and doesn't connect to anything. And you get perfect balance because both sides are seeing high impedance. And the only problem is it's only good for one frequency, and if you deviate off of that, then your balance is gone and your feed line starts radiating. And so that article was about putting quarter wavelength counterpoist for each band. And the problem with doing that is the counterpoist does radiate, and that becomes part of your antenna. So basically you're losing a lot of your power in that thing. And that then that W3 EDP antenna is about the silliest thing I ever saw in my life. That's been around for a long time in different variations, but you know, it basically is a joke, I think. Is that you have to use a tuner, and somehow 17 feet became the magic length for the counterpoist, and it does everything. But that I don't know where he got that, but it doesn't really do much. Anyway, so, but it was an interesting article. So over to you, George. Let's see, to have anything else, can't think of it. So over to you, K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ and your old friends, K4GDN. Yeah, I tried the W3 EDP antenna and some modifications that I made to it. Oh, feeding with ladder line, feeding with coax, and particularly with trying to feed the thing with coax, it's very sensitive to the length of the feed line. I mean, just a couple of feet makes a big difference. This is, like I say, when I was still having to operate out of the garage and really couldn't get it up too high. I was getting up on the roof of the house, which is about 30 feet up. But yeah, it's not much of an antenna. And I guess I've kind of got a modified version of it. It's just a long wire coming into the shack for a receiver for my grandson to use occasionally. But it's not much of a transmitting antenna, that's for sure. I'm going to say 73 on this one, but I'm going to listen to the end. I've got some projects I've got to get to today, and look forward to being in here on Thursday. So with that, let's see, it goes to, it goes to Cliff, WB, if he's still there. Otherwise, I guess Boone gets it. But WB4NKL, K4GDN.
Yeah, K4GDN, it's WB4NKL. Still good copy, George. Let's see, Charlie's project. I've got projects here that probably never get around to some of them. It's funny how, you know, when you're working, you'll set back stuff and say, I'm going to get around to that when I retire. And retirement's been here for 10 years, and still some of these projects hadn't been touched. So I don't know, it's probably time to let some of them go. And there's less time for some reason when you retire. A good deal on the 2As. I like my 2As, and I let Jimmy have one of them. I think he likes it, so they're a pretty good little receiver. I had a 1A like Steve was talking about, or didn't have AM on it. I think I got mine from Brian at one of the Hamfest, and then Ron Beaver was looking for one, and I passed it on to him. So I had one for a while, though. It was real nice shape, but just didn't really, wasn't a keeper for me anyway. So I sent it on to let Ron have it. I'll say 73s, enjoyed it. I think it's warmed up a degree or two, so hopefully it'll keep it climbing. It's supposed to be warmer today than it was yesterday, which is a good thing. So 73s, thanks for calling it, Dave, and we will try to catch everybody Thursday. Go ahead, Boone, WA4EVK, WB4NKL.
WB4NKL in the group, WA4EVK. Yeah, the band's changing a little bit. Georgia's signal went weaker, so propagation is changing out there as the day moves on, I reckon. And I'm going to say 73s and get out of here. I'm going to hear the wife fixing breakfast, so that is a very attractive sound. Get in there so I don't get left out. Not much more than that anyway. I'll say 73s, everybody, and turn it over to Charlie. W4MEC to take it, WA4EVK.
Very good, Boone. WA4EVK in the group, W4MEC. All right, fellas, good to talk to you today. Try and stay warm. And check us out on 50.4 at 8 o'clock tonight, this evening here. And if not, we'll maybe we'll show up on 1864. Let's see if I got any other notes here. I don't think so, but I'll think of them later, an hour from now. So save them for the next day. And 7-3 all, and you all have a good rest of the day. Got KF4 DRN, the group, W4MEC. Bye-bye.
W4MEC, KF4 DRN. 7-3, everybody's checked down, and we've all checked down on this one, too. Good to be in here this morning. Yeah, the band conditions are changing on my end as well. So, anyway, I barely could hear some of the stations. Anyway, 7-3 all around. Everybody have a good day. W84 LLR to take it. KF4 DRN.
All right, Greg, fine business. Good signal from Newmarket. Well, gentlemen, I've enjoyed it this morning. I appreciate all the feedback, information on the Drake 1A. I didn't realize that I was looking at specs on it, and it had AM, and then I looked close, and it had AM in parentheses, as well as CW, so I'm not sure what they meant by that. But interesting gadget. Everybody have a good one. Stay warm, 7-3, God bless, and Lord willing, we'll do it again on Thursday. This is WA4LLR, Dave in Burnsville, North Carolina, closing this session of the Old Friends Net. Bye-bye.